Hi, friends, and welcome back to Elevate with Erica. I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. And if you caught last week's episode, you know that we talked about being one yes away from a totally different life. One moment of bravery, one bold decision that flips the script. And this week, we're taking it a little bit deeper because what good is a yes if you're still clinging to an old story that tells you we're not ready, we're not worthy, we're not capable? You're only going to go so far with that yes. And that's kind of where I've found myself these past couple weeks. So I want to talk about the power that you have to write a new story because you still hold the pen. No matter what your past holds, no matter how messy it's been, you can start telling a different story today. And let's be real, we all have stories that we have kept telling ourselves, and maybe it's the divorce, maybe it's the debt, maybe it's the failure, maybe it's the job that you lost, maybe it's the way someone treated you, maybe it's the way that you treated yourself. And while those things happened, what keeps us stuck isn't that they happened, it's that we keep replaying them on a loop like they're the closing credits of our life story. And we take that chapter and we start living like it's the entire book. But you can't become the person that you want to be if you keep telling the story of who you used to be. So I want you to really let that sink in today. We reinforce the same patterns, the same behaviors because we start to identify with that story. We don't just remember what happened, we become what happened. But here's what I need you to hear today. You are not your story. You are not your past. You are the storyteller. And storytellers can edit. They can revise. They can start a brand new chapter at any time. I'm in this work right now with you. This isn't me talking from some mountaintop. This is me mid climb, catching myself several times a day saying things like, I can't afford that. This hole I'm in is too deep. Why can't I create the kind of financial stability that they have? I'll never get out of this debt. Does that sound familiar to you? Those kinds of thoughts. That's my old story talking, a story that's rooted in lack. And if I keep retelling it, how can I ever step into abundance, right? And it's the same thing with my marriage. If I keep replaying the story of broken trust and miscommunication and the worst moments, how can I ever give us a chance to live out a stronger, more connected future? A future that's redeemed and restored, a marriage fortified in stone in the name of Jesus. So I'm rewriting that story now because I'm done living in the past. I know that those old keys are not going to unlock new doors. So let's talk real for a minute, okay? I'm in this amazing season with my Make Wellness business. I'm surrounded by powerhouse women making massive impact, men and women, and they are inspiring as heck. But I'd be lying if I said that I didn't feel like an imposter from time to time. I've caught myself saying, maybe this is as far as I get. Like, good for her, but that's not for me. Maybe I should just be grateful for this little plate of impact that I have. But why do we do that? Because you're never going to take bold action if you keep living out a small story. That little voice that says, stay small, is not from God. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called, and He already called me, and He already called you. So I've been sitting on the other line with my old story while God's trying to deliver me the next chapter. And I'm over here like, hold on, let me just keep talking to lack and shame and regret for a little longer. Well, that ends today. And I am covered in goosebumps saying that out loud. This is something I have been knee deep in work on this week. I have become painfully aware. So let me ask you something that I had to ask myself this week. Why not me? Why can't I create financial abundance? Why can't I help women transform their health and lives with fitness, nutrition, and these peptides derived from nature that I am loving so much? Why can't my marriage be an example of restoration? Why can't I step into the woman that God called me to be? And I ask you, why not you? You've got gifts, you've got purpose, you've got time, you've got today. But if you keep telling yourself the story of who you were and what went wrong and why it didn't work and how you failed, then friend, you're just going to hold yourself back. You're trying to walk into a new season while dragging your baggage from the last one. I know, I know, because I'm doing it too. But it's time that we let go. This month, I started literally catching myself every time the old story came up. And instead of repeating it, I am working on writing a new line, even when it feels uncomfortable. Like if I say something like, I'll never have enough, I want to replace that with God is my provider and there is always enough. Or I can't be a leader like her. God placed this platform in my hands for a reason. I am a leader and I will lead. Or I messed up too bad to come back from this. Instead, I want to say there is no pit too deep for God's grace. So you get to choose your new story. Write down your old stories and create a new line one at a time. Start writing like the person you want to be and start showing up as the version of you who has already overcome everything you're trying to overcome today. Just start acting as the person who has already overcome those things, and your mind will catch up. So, I want to leave you with a few quotes that are hitting home for me lately. Maybe steal one of these or steal them all and keep it somewhere where you can look at it often. The one that you can most relate with, okay? So, one, your past may have shaped you, but it does not define you. Two, you cannot heal in the same environment or mindset that broke you. Three, your new life is going to cost you your old one. Four, you are not too old, too late, too far gone. You are right on time. And may I add to that, you are right on his time. And one of my favorites from the good book itself, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? That's Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. And I want to leave you with this. If you've been walking around with a story that says you're too broken, too behind, too stuck, I want you to look in the mirror today and remind yourself that you still hold the pen. I want you to look in the mirror and say, I still hold the pen. And say it to yourself every morning. You are not powerless. You are not a prisoner to your past. You are the author, and you get to decide how this next chapter unfolds. I don't care if your story has some dark pages, we all have them. What matters is what you do with them. Do you keep rereading them until the words blur and you forget you were made for more? Or do you finally turn the page? Because you cannot rise while clinging to an identity that was never meant to carry you into your purpose. You cannot elevate while dragging the weight of guilt and shame and old definitions of who you used to be. And you cannot overflow in abundance when you're operating from a script that screams lack. And you don't have to have all the answers right now. I know I don't. I know who I want to be. I don't have all the answers of how I'm going to get there yet. You don't need to have the whole plot line laid out. You just need a new paragraph, a new sentence, a new decision to stop feeding the old story and start living the new one. So you can say, I'm not the woman who always gives up. I'm not the woman who lets fear run the show. I'm not the woman who settles. I'm not the woman who falls down and doesn't get back up. I am the woman who turns that pain into her purpose, who answers when God calls, even when she's scared, even if she's unsure, even if she's healing while building. You were not created to live in survival mode. You were made to thrive, to impact, to grow. And every time you repeat the old story, you're watering weeds. So let's start planting roots, roots that are grounded in truth and not fear, in faith and not doubt, in who God says you are, not who the world has tried to convince you to be. Because the truth is, the breakthrough that you're waiting for, it's already there. The door, it's already open. God isn't holding back your next level. He's waiting for you to step into it. He's whispering, daughter, son, it's time, and I've got more for you. And maybe that's all you needed to hear today. So go write your next line, say it out loud, speak it in the mirror, live it out in your actions, because one day that new story, the one you're terrified to start, will be the reason someone else finally starts theirs. Don't you dare play small. Don't you dare let the old story win. You hold the pen. Now go write something powerful. And I'm going to be right there beside you, rewriting mine too. Until next time, my friend.